Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the newly announced Pokemon FireRed LeafGreen. Now, some of you may have never played these games before. They are Generation 3 and we're currently in Gen 9, so it's been a while. Or some of you, like me, grew up playing these games. Now, no matter if you're old into the game, if you're new into the game, today we're going to look at a couple things you need to know so that you can pick the right one. Starting off with why you want to pick what version. Now, the versions are basically the same except for a couple minor differences. FireRed is my personal favorite, but then again, I'm biased. That's the version I got as a kid, and it had Charizard on, one of my favorite Pokemon. And then there's LeafGreen, which, again, a very good one as well, and I love Venusaur. So maybe now that I'm a wiser adult, nah, I don't know who I'm kidding. I'm probably gonna get FireRed, but that doesn't mean that you have to. Let's go ahead and watch the trailer together. So you choose your first partner. As you can see, the art style is way different, and at the time we thought this was like high tech. So Professor O gives you your Charmander or you get to fight all the different gym leaders. If you pick Charmander, you are in for a hard time with the first couple gyms. A rock gym is number one, then you go into a water gym, and it's just tough from there on. You will be whiting out. I think it used to be blacked out before. You get to fight Giovanni, Team Rocket. If you haven't played Sun and Moon, maybe you haven't even ever fought Team Rocket before, and that wasn't even Team Rocket, that was Rainbow Rocket. You get your rival, Blue, one of the best champions ever made. Rhydon, Blastoise, such a cool team. And then you get all of the legendary encounters. Now, we will be talking a little bit more about these later, but it is worth to note that these can be shiny. Wow. Just looking at the screen gives back memories. And now that it's going to be on the Switch, I think it's going to be amazing. Retro gaming is super popular right now. They also have retro gaming sections or tournaments at different places. Like, I heard that they had one at one of the regionals recently. So, there's a lot to look forward to with these. Now, let's go into a couple of details. So, if you're trying to figure out which one you want to get, FireRed or LeafGreen, there's a couple things you need to know. It's very not surface level. Like I said, they're very similar. There's just a couple of differences. To start off, FireRed has exclusive Pokemon that LeafGreen does not. If these are some of your favorite Pokemon, we have Arbok. Oh, if you're an Arcanine fan, Vileplume. If you like Golduck, Cloyster, Scyther. Scyther is not in LeafGreen. Scyther is amazing. Scizor, which is after you beat the game and you go into the islands, you can get the national decks, and then you can start getting these Johtomons, which would come later, right? Elekid, Electabuzz, Wooper, Quagsire, Murkrow, Quailfish, Delibird, Skarmory, and Blossom. All of these are only FireRed exclusive Pokemon. If you are playing this and you don't plan on buying both versions like some of us are, bad financial decisions, I know. If you don't plan on having both, you only need to have the one that you want with all of the special versions. Now let's go see what is on LeafGreen. LeafGreen, we have Sandshrew, Sandslash, Vulpix. So instead of the Arcanine, you get the Vulpix. Instead of the Golduck, you get Slowbro and Slowking. Then we also have Weeping Bell, Victory Bell, instead of the Oddish and that line. Then we have Starmie, Pinsir instead of Scyther. We have Magmar instead of Electabuzz. And then we just kind of go into the ones that you would get after you get the national decks, which is Azumarill line. You also would get Misdreavus, I forgot the name of that Pokemon, Remoraid, Mantine. So if you have a specific choice on which ones you want, going back and forth might be the deciding factor on which one you're getting. On top of that, let's talk about something else. This is a Generation 3 game. What does that mean? Well, Generation 3 games play differently. They are not the same physical and special split that we see today. Hopefully, since we're on the topic, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald get released at a later date. I think that would be amazing. These are games that were owned and under the domain for Game Freak and Pokemon. Games like Colosseum and other games that have been released on Nintendo Online were not, so they couldn't do the same thing. And it has been released that a lot of these games will have home connectivity. So, if we can get these Pokemon and these games on the Switch, it would be amazing. Gen 3, the Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald might be only Switch 2 exclusives later on, but who knows? I mean, FireRed LeafGreen could have been Switch 2 exclusives to promote the game, but here they are giving it to us on Switch 1. Now, we talked about the physical special split. It is not by moves. It is not by, tackle is physical, Hyper Beam is special. No, it is by type. That is the big difference of Generation 3. Back then, each type represented what the move was and what stat you could use. For example, you would have in physical, normal, fighting, rock, ground, ghost, steel, poison, bug, flying. In special, you would have fire, water, grass, electric, dragon, dark, psychic, and ice. Why is that important? Well, let's take Venusaur for example. Venusaur, as we know now in Generation 4 through 10, has different type of grass moves. Some of them are physical and some of them are special. I am showing you here an example of a physical grass move, which is Vine Whip, and an example of special move, which is Solar Beam. In Generation 1 through 3, Vine Whip being a grass move and Solar Beam being a grass move were both considered special. If we go back, you could see that grass is under the special Pokemon typings. That means every single move that's grass is special. What does this mean for Venusaur? Well, if we move forward, we can see that Venusaur has a special attack of 100. That means every single grass type move that it used was considered special. It doesn't matter if it was a physical move like we know them now. Back then there was no split. It was just Vine Whip was special, Solar Beam was special, and you could use the 100 special attack points to do damage, plus the stab multiplier, which is why we have to talk about now what Pokemon are good and what they're considered. It's one of those subjects is really difficult to comprehend if you've never grew up playing it, because now we have the special split, the physical split, right? For example, if we go back to this page, we can see that fire, water, grass are all special. Now, how can we take that into account when we're deciding what the best starter is? Well, if we go back to Venusaur, we know it's a special attacker, right? We know that grass is special, and we know that it has 100 special attack. When you think about these games, the biggest factors are the attack stat and the speed stat. But most of the time, bulk is kind of also a little important. But it's kind of weird because most of the time, Pokemon will be using attacks that aren't super strong on them because of this physical special split. Let's move on to the next Pokemon to kind of get another idea. Here we have Charizard. Charizard, as you can see, has 109 special attack and has 100 speed. It is considered a special attacker, and it does not matter if it's using moves like Flamethrower or Fire Punch. I don't think it learns Fire Punch in this generation, but if it did, it would not matter. It would be a special move. Meaning, if you think about Pokemon that learn a lot of different type of moves, kind of like the elemental punches, they are all special. If we look now at Blastoise, Blastoise has a special attack of 85, a speed of 78. but it's a lot bulkier. You will notice in battles though that it lasts longer than Charizard, but it also takes longer for it to do damage. So it kind of goes on how fast you want to play through it. Again, Charizard is really bad if you want to play fast through the early game because it's Rock Gym, Water Gym, and then you maybe catch a break a little bit when you get to the Grass Gym, but that's how many gyms down, right? With Water, you kind of get a break right away, and then you get an intermediate. With Grass, you get easy money. First gym, second gym is easy. Even the electric gym isn't that hard. Grass type gym is, in the middle. It doesn't get difficult for this gym until you get to the psychic, if you remember that this is a poison type as well. So, pros and cons for early game. But these are all special attackers, and they're really good for the game. If now we're looking at a Pokemon that's a little bit interesting that normally isn't that good now, let's look at Nidoking. Nidoking is a physical attacker, and it has 2 physical typings. That means both of its moves that it learns from ground and from poison are using its physical attack, which is 92. It's not super high, but it's not low. It's in between. Special attack is 85, which is the same as Blastoise, which is a little crazy. But it has 2 strong physical typings, and it can use stab physical moves. Again, in this generation, any ground and any poison type are physical, which is great for this Pokemon because it learns those moves. Now, it does get some coverage, but since it's already learning those moves, it doesn't have to work extra hard and use up all your TMs. In these games, TMs are only 1 per. You can't just remake them. You can't just farm items and then go print them. So it is important. And one of the Pokemon that a lot of people pick up early on, since you can catch it as soon as, I think it is the first gym. After the first gym, you can start finding them. And you get 1 Moonstone per game. So Nidoking evolves with a Moonstone. Clefable evolves with a Moonstone. Nidoqueen evolves with a Moonstone. You have to keep that in mind. Next up is a special attacker that is sadly physical in this game. So Gengar is, as you can see, has 130 special attack. But because of the typings in this generation, Ghost and Poison, it is a physical attacker when it comes to stab. Meaning, it doesn't even get to use its best stat when you're using a Ghost or Poison type. Now, Gengar is one of those Pokemon that is also cursed by something else that we'll talk here in a minute. But it's one of those Pokemon that you really need to spend your TMs on. Now, if you can get this Pokemon with a good TM, 110 speed, I know nowadays seems like a little bit, but it is actually quite a lot for Generation 1. And 130 special attack, it's going to be one of the highest ones. Now, you're going to have to teach it other moves. The moves that you're going to have to teach it are TMs from fire moves, water moves, even grass moves, electric moves. Thunderbolt on this Pokemon will cook. Ice type moves, if you have Ice Beam, I think it's also, I don't remember if we can learn it right now, but it's a good thing for Dragon and Dark type moves. So those are the moves you want to teach this Pokemon. It is one of the few exceptions where if you can get by, hey, I have to spend all my TMs on this Pokemon, it is a phenomenal Pokemon. It just will not do stab damage. Now, if you don't know what stab is same type attack boost. It's a 50% boost to any single move that you use as a Pokemon that has the same type as you. So, in this case, it would be Ghost and Poison, which would be a stab boost, but would be way under, even with 50% boost on 65 attack, 130 is just way better. So, Pokemon like Gengar are cursed, sadly, because of their typing on that stab boost bonus. But it's not the only thing that Gengar has to be cursed by. It's also one of the few Pokemon that you have to trade for. Now, back in the day, we used to have to connect our Game Boy Colors with a cable. Now you will be able to do it in person. There's not going to be any online connectivity for this. You have to be in person with someone else that has the game on their Switch and do a wired switch, or like a wireless in-person Switch transaction. The Pokemon that you want from there are Machoke into Machamp, Kadabra into Alakazam, Graveler into Golem, and Haunter into Gengar. Now these are all worth getting, and if you have 2 Switches like I do maybe, and you plan on getting 2 versions like I might, it might just be easy for you to do it yourself. But if not, if you go to your locals, and remember, this is a VGC channel, I have to mention VGC things. If you go to your locals, there might be other people there that are willing to trade. It's not like when we were kids that you had to kind of sneak it into the school. Now you can actually do it at locals, which is a great place to be trading for Pokemon anyways. Moving on. What about shinies? Now, a lot of the charm from these retro games or these spin-off games for VGC enthusiasts, because you know we don't get much from them except for like Legends Arceus, who gave us Ursaluna Blood Moon and Ursaluna normal. Ursaluna Blood Moon actually came from, you know what I mean, for the DLC, but you know what I mean. It started it. These games are amazing with shinies. The only problem is there's no shiny charm, so there's no odds. You can't increase the odds. Okay, for 1 in every 8,192, so approximately 0.012%, you have the odd to find a shiny. The odds are stacked against you, but every single Pokemon except for Mew, if you see a shiny Mew, it was hacked. Something's wrong with it. They used some type of code, which they could do back then. Exploit can be shiny, even Mewtwo. Now, if you want to get a shiny Mewtwo, I just suggest raiding whenever they're out in Pokemon Go. That's way easier. But all of these Pokemon can be shiny. For like the shiny legendary birds, that might be worth it for some of y'all. I still think like Generation 8 Sword and Shield is way better with Dynamax raids. But soft resetting might be easier for you. So remember, all of them could be shiny. And because of Pokemon Home, you can transfer all of these to Home and then whatever games that we're going to play in the future. Hopefully Champions, but you know, all you have to do is save in front of wherever you're going to do, soft reset, just start the game over, close software, go back in. And remember, you get 1 Master Ball in these games, just 1, so make sure you use it wisely. If you're shiny hunting Mewtwo, if you're shiny hunting one of the legendary trio birds, it's all possible. You just have to make sure you save and you have patience. Remember, odds are 1 in 8,192. Now, depending, after you get Nat Dex, what starter you chose, that's the legendary dog, or beast, whatever you guys want to call them. We used to call them dogs, but at some point they changed to beast. So whatever legendary beast you get is representative of what you chose for your starter. I know I'm going to be getting Suicune. That's fine by me. I like Suicune. Another one that's very competitively viable is Entei. And remember, you can get these shiny. The only thing is these are roaming Pokemon, so you have to save anytime you think you'll encounter them. And if you, for whatever reason, accidentally roar them or they use roar, it is possible that the Pokemon will just get deleted and you won't be able to encounter them again. So save files are going to be your best friend. There is no autosave in these, so at least you know that you can just start the program over and it's not going to autosave you out of that. You have to physically save, but that is also a problem for those of you that have never saved in your life. Since I play for shinies and stuff like that, I turn off autosave and I do everything myself. But, you know, hey, it's something that I grew up doing. So for you, it might be something that you've never had to do. Moving on. Let's talk about the Great Tusk in front of us. The Great Tusk in the room. What does this mean for VGC? Now, we talked a little bit about it, right? This is a VGC channel. We have to talk about what this means for VGC. Primarily, not much. If you want to get these Pokemon shiny, There's a lot of other options for shinies, makes it easier. Pokemon Go is one of the easiest ways, in my opinion, because they have specific community days where they will give you shiny odds that are higher on Pokemon. I just did that with Rillaboom, who was just like a month ago or something. The Pokemon Go Day Spotlight, whatever they call it. I'm not a Pokemon Go like guy anymore. I used to be when it came out, but I know there's like a specific day, I think it's called Community Day, where that Pokemon is featured and you can catch them shiny super easily. Look out for those. We just had Rillaboom, which was super competitively used, so that's a good way to get them. Or you can do raids. I know those cost money sometimes, or you can stack up your chips like I do. But if for some reason you don't want to do that, it's just easier to shiny hunt in Scarlet and Violet. The odds on here are going to be crazy, and you can't really do anything with them. Now, if you want specific Pokemon to have specific ribbons, we might be able to get some ribbons from here that are cool to show up whenever we battle. But that all depends on Pokemon Champions. Pokemon Champions is set to release 2026, and it will be the official Worlds platform for 2026. We are literally, 5 months away. The last Regulation F meta regional will be next month, I believe. So Champions needs to come soon. I hope that we get some information tomorrow. By the way, this all comes live tomorrow. And basically what this games mean for VGC is absolutely nothing. If you want to shiny hunt somewhere else, if you want to do all of that somewhere else, feel free to. It should have no implications for VGC. We're not going to play on them. We're not going to do anything on them. I think we would have ZA before we have FireRed and LeafGreen. It's just really cool that the connectivity for home is going to be there. So, what does this mean? Well, I hope this lets you know exactly how to pick the correct version of the game, FireRed. But I am 100% joking, of course. Pick whatever you want to be your version. FireRed just looks cool. You'll have Charizard when it comes up. But besides the different Pokemon that you have, it's basically the same. I do want to make note that depending on what you pick, I will judge you personally. So leave a comment down below what you think you're going to pick. Also, share with me which one of the Pokemon are you excited to play with. Because remember, this is not like newer games. There's no one following you around the overworld. And it is physical, special, split. It has a lot of rules. It has a lot of limitations that nowadays we don't see. But it is now retro gaming, which is crazy considering we are at the 30th anniversary. This is one of the style of games that I played the most. My most played game as a kid was Emerald though. So hopefully that comes out soon. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You learned a couple things. And I'm also announcing that I will be doing a FireRed walkthrough, playthrough, Nuzlocke. So these games are easy enough to Nuzlocke, so I will watch out for that in the videos soon. Comment, like, subscribe. We're trying to get 1,000 subscribers this year. We have been posting once a day, every day, sometimes even more. And I will catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.